Together we can move.
In this video, I'm going to show you 17 pro Samsung Galaxy tips and tricks and hidden features that go well beyond my first things to do video. And if you didn't see that already, I'll link it at the end of this one, so don't worry. And if you use these, they will likely make your friends jealous. And even more so if they're on iPhone, because when they see you using these features, this will be their face. So let's start this with a feature somewhat similar to the dynamic island on the iPhone. So jump into your settings menu and scroll down to where you see notifications. And on the notifications page, we're going to go to notification pop-up style. Make sure that this is set to brief and not detailed for this to work. Then go into edge lighting style. So as you can see, we've got a bunch of different options here. The bubbles is pretty cool. I do like this one, the eclipse. That looks pretty sweet, but my favorite by far is this one. It's just a bit more subtle, but here's where it gets even more interesting. If you go into advanced, you can change the transparency and the duration of the animation. So I'm just going to leave it as is for now. I'll let you guys play around with that. But this is what I really want to show you, the color by keyword. So as you can see right now, I've set up different colors for different types of notifications. So whenever I get the green glow at the top of the screen, I know it's from WhatsApp. When it's red, it's a notification from YouTube. When it's blue, it's a message. And when it's yellow, it's Eufy. And all you need to do to set this up is type here what you want the keyword to be. Let's say Instagram. Hit the plus. Now we have Instagram in the list. I can click the color and I can set it to, let's say, purple. Now whenever there's notifications from Instagram, it will glow purple at the top of the screen.
Nice.
And yes, this is definitely nice to use and it will help you streamline your notification game. Anyway, tip number 2. Okay, this next tip is just a quick way to secure your information should you lose your phone or should some nick your phone. Go into your settings once again. We're going to scroll down to where we see lock screen and AOD. And on this page, we're going to go to secure lock settings. It's going to ask you for your PIN number. Now here's some of the settings that are already enabled and I do recommend you leave those on, but something you can enable here can help protect your data if worst comes to worst, and it is this. So if someone finds your phone and is continuously trying to figure out your PIN number, trying to get into your device, after 20 incorrect attempts, it will factory reset the phone so all of your data will be deleted so they can't plug it into a PC with some software and try and get all your photos off it or anything like that. And there is a feature here that's off by default. It is the show lockdown option. So the lockdown options will switch off all biometrics, all notifications, and if you have the extend unlock feature on, it will switch that off. The extend unlock is a feature where if you have your phone in your pocket, it knows it's in your pocket and will stay unlocked. Or if you're at home, it will stay unlocked. It's not a great setting to have on, but if you do have it on, the lockdown will stop that from happening. The great thing about enabling lockdown though, is you can use it only as and when you need to. So to access the lockdown, all you do is hold the power button down and you'll see right there, we have the lockdown mode available to us. All right, tip number 3, you know the Samsung Galaxy S24 series now has more advanced AI. And one of the new features is the generative fill around photos. But there's also a new addition to the classic crop feature. So check this out. This is a photo of the dog, AKA the Phantom Menace. If you hit the pen at the bottom here, you get some editing options. Where it says free in very small letters here, that's the ratio of the crop. So right now you can just crop it to whatever size you want. If you go to free, you can choose a specific ratio. So I'm just going to go to the square ratio 1:1. And we're going to crop right into the center of this photo where the Phantom Menace is. So I've cropped so much of this photo now that everything in the center is actually quite soft and blurry. Check out this new hidden feature. When you hit save, at the bottom of the screen, we do have a new option. So we can keep the current resolution or we can increase the resolution using AI. And as you can see, we've got tons of the detail back in the face of the dog. The image looks significantly better. So keep an eye out for this next time you crop a photo. This will definitely work better if you're using a higher megapixel count on the photos. And just in case you don't know how to do that, When you open your phone's camera at the top of the screen, you should see the current megapixel count. Most of the time it will default to 12 megapixels, but you can tap that and change it to other megapixel counts. So just use that as and when you need to. Most of the time the 12 megapixels is perfect though. So let me ask you a question. Are you the type of person who likes to use their phone whilst walking down the street? Or do you like to listen to music at the appropriate volume, even if it is sometimes a bit too loud? And have you ever driven a car whilst having a video playing in the background? Well, if you answered yes to any of those, you, my friend, like to live dangerously. And you might be happy to know,
I also like to live dangerously.
But we can all live a little safer if you use this hidden feature on the Samsung Galaxy device. So check this out. Go into your settings, scroll down to digital wellbeing and parental controls. Scroll down again and here you'll see 3 options: driving monitor, walking monitor, and loud listening time or loud listening monitor. Now each one of these has been designed to protect you from yourself. So I do recommend you take a look at these. By default, they will all be switched off. Right now you can see I've switched on the listening monitor. This will track what volumes I'm listening to audio at. So do think about this one carefully and think about how you use your phone, because these will help you use your phone a little bit more safely. Now I would enable the driving monitor. This only kicks in though when you connect to your car's Bluetooth. And at this point in time, my car is ancient. It's more like a German tank than a car, and it doesn't actually have Bluetooth. So I'm not going to use this one. However, the walking monitor, I should probably switch on straight away. And this will just help me keep tabs and learn how to walk more safely down the street without getting hit by a bus. Now, while we're talking about walking down the street, have you ever received a phone call in a noisy environment where the person on the other side can't hear you? If the answer to that is yes, then you definitely got to be aware of this next hidden trick. Now, when a call comes in and you pick it up, if you swipe down your entire control panel, what you'll notice is at the top of this, you'll have the mic mode available to you. A lot of people actually thought that this feature was scrapped on the newer Samsung devices, but it has been here hiding in plain sight. So when you tap on this microphone icon, you now have the option to switch between standard and voice focus. So if it is very noisy in your environment, you want to switch this to voice focus. That will use the Samsung Galaxy's AI to isolate your voice and separate it from that noisy background that you find yourself in. Number 6, so if you live in a cold place or somewhere like England where it's cold and rainy all the time, you're going to love this tip, because if your hands are wet and a phone call comes in, trying to answer it sometimes can be very difficult. And if you're wearing gloves, it's almost impossible unless you do this. Open your phone app, go to the 3 dots, go to your phone app settings, and in this menu, you will see answering and ending calls. And here you can enable press volume up to answer calls. And this will definitely be a handy feature. So instead of swiping up on the screen, you can literally just tap the up button and there you go, you picked up your phone call. And if you want to, you can end the call with the power key. However, I don't recommend that because you'll end up hanging up on people by accident all the time. Trust me, I've tried it, but maybe it'll work for you. Let me know. Okay, so there's nothing worse than spam callers, and thanks to the new on-device AI, you can pick up calls using text. However, if you do this next tip, you won't even have to use the call assist feature, and all you need to do to access this feature is once again go back into the default phone app on the device, hit the 3 dots up here, go to settings, and you should see this caller ID and spam protection. If you tap on that, you'll see that it uses Hiya. And this is a service that can identify spams and scam callers that are already well known to Hiya. And it'll also let you know when you're being called from someone not in your phone book. So if receiving spam calls is a constant problem for you, with this enabled pretty quickly, it won't be. Okay, so if you've made it this far and so far nothing's really impressed you and you're like,
my disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined.
Trust me, stick around. Some of these other ones you might not have seen. So check this out. Here's a bonus tip for you guys. If you go back into your phone app, hit the 3 dots again to go into the settings. And here you'll see the option for call background. Now you can set a custom background for when people call you, or you could use the default ones here. The video background is probably one of the best to use because the background color will change to match whatever photos attached to the contact. And if you want to go one step further with this, you can actually individually set up backgrounds for every single caller in your phone book. But if you ain't got time for that, then just use this. Okay, so here's a hidden new feature within the Samsung Gallery app. If you dive into the menu here at the bottom right corner of the Gallery app, I did go through the Samsung Studio app in another video, so if you want to check that out, I'll make sure it's linked in the comments below. But what I want to show you here is this, the suggestions button. So when you tap this button, you get this fix up page, and these are photos and videos that you have on your device that the phone thinks it can improve for you. So check this out. Here's a little clip of me on a racetrack, and at the bottom here, you'll see we have highlights. So it's highlighted parts of that video that it thinks are the best. And these are just excerpts from that video, and you can choose any of them and just save them as a copy without editing the original file. This could be fantastic for social media. And the same thing applies with photos. So you can see here, I've got a photo that looks blurry, and it's suggesting I add the remove blur effect to this photo. We also got the option to upscale this one and improve the color on this one. So if you want to sharpen up your photos with minimal effort, then you should definitely use the fix up setting within the gallery. All right, so do you ever feel like sometimes when you're listening to music and podcasts and things like that, you're not hearing everything as clearly as you should be? Well, if the answer to that is yes, then you're going to love this hidden feature within the Samsung Galaxy devices. Go into your settings, navigate to sound and vibration, scroll down till you see sound quality and effects. And at the bottom of this page, you'll see adapt sound. When you enable this switch, you've now unlocked a custom hearing test on the device. You can specify what age you are and use that as a preset. And if you go into the settings here, you'll see you can actually adjust what side is the preferred one for voice calls. And at the bottom here, you can set a profile to clear or soft, and you can preview it to see if it works for you or not. But check this out, we can go one level deeper with this. If you go to add personalized sound profile, here you have to spend a little bit of time going through the hearing test, and it will test both of your ears and figure out exactly what the EQ should be for each ear. So if you want a personalized EQ that's designed specifically for you, then you should definitely do this. It will take a bit of time, so put some time aside, run through these steps, and once you've completed it, you will get an enhanced listening experience through your Galaxy device. A little disclaimer though, if you're using a headphones app that has its own EQs and things like that, this will likely work on top of that. But if you are using the Samsung Galaxy Buds, this will work perfectly in tandem with that. And I did do an entire tips and tricks video for Galaxy Buds. If you want to check that out, I'll link that below this video. So in World War I, the weapons were quite primitive. In World War II, they were more advanced. And World War III, whether you like to believe it or not, is being fought with data. So it's important you do your bit to protect yourself and your data and win the war against the people who are trying to take it from you. And if that sounds important to you, then you should definitely do this. Go into your settings, security and privacy, more privacy settings. And here you'll see the option for enhanced data protection. If you tap that, here you'll see two options that are switched off by default. With these enabled, you'll be protecting your data end to end. You will need to generate a recovery code, and you will need to keep it safe somewhere. I'll leave that in your hands. And this means any backups of your device can only be accessed by you. And if you encrypt sync data, if you have other Samsung devices, any data that's synced across those devices will also be encrypted. So mixed up in a way that only you with your passcode can put back together. And it's important to remember, I'm not here to make you do anything or tell you to do anything. It's entirely your choice, but this could be a good one for you if you're worried about data protection. So as someone who tests a lot of phones these days, I have definitely tested the iPhone, and I know some of you will not be fans of the iPhone, but unfortunately it comes with the territory. So I do test it, and they do have some good features. For example, when you plug your phone in overnight, there's a really nice ambient display of a clock and a calendar. And whilst the Galaxy doesn't have that exact feature, there is a feature that's similar to it, which you can enable right now. So check this out. Go into your settings, scroll down to display, scroll all the way to the bottom of this page, and you will see screensaver. And you'll notice by default, this will be set to none. Now what you can do here is set it to clock, hit the settings next to it, and you can change the style of the clock. I do feel the analog clock works the best for this. And within this setting as well, you can actually enable the night mode, which I recommend you do, especially if you charge your phone overnight. Now check this out. This will only kick in when your screen times out. If you turn the screen off, it won't kick in. And it's pretty cool if you have your phone on like a magnetic charging dock or some kind of charging stand overnight. So you can actually glance over at the clock without blinding yourself in the middle of the night. And also within the screensaver options, you can actually use a photo frame. So you can use your phone as a kind of digital photo gallery. However, if you want to keep your photos more private, then the clock is probably the better option. Okay, this next one is definitely not new, but it is well hidden. And I think a lot of people probably haven't even thought about customizing it. So check this out. Go into your settings, lock screen and always on display. And here you should see widgets. So when your phone is locked and you tap the clock at the top, you'll see you have a bunch of different widgets pop up. These could be extremely useful, especially the recorder, since the recorder can now summarize what's being said with the new AI. But anyway, let's go back to that settings menu, and you can quickly jump back to it by going to settings here at the bottom. And here you have a list of the available widgets. So you can switch on and off the ones that make the most sense to you. And at the top here, if you hit reorder, you can move the most useful ones to the top. So I'm going to put the recorder right here at the top. And with it set up like I've just set it up, now if I need to capture some audio for whatever reason, I can tap that clock, start recording immediately here from the lock screen. I think I'm also going to move my Galaxy Bud controls to the top as well. So now I have the voice recorder, I have my playlist, and I also have the Buds controls right here with just a tap on the home screen without having to unlock the phone. Okay, so I'm going to be super real with you guys. Typically with most devices, pretty much all devices on Android, I switched the keyboard to the Gboard, which is from Google. The Samsung keyboards become so powerful now with the built-in AI, and I did go into that in depth in my first things to do video, so I'm not going to do that now, but I am going to show you a really useful feature that you should definitely set up that not many people know about. Go into your settings, and here you're looking for the general management tab. And here you want to go to the Samsung keyboard settings, and at the bottom you'll see this, text shortcuts. These are invaluable. Do you know how many people ask me for my wallpapers from my videos? It's literally every day. And my email address is super long, so it's a nightmare to type it out all the time. And my surname is also pretty long as well. So these are great shortcuts that I can create straight away. All I need to do is hit the little plus here at the top. I can create a shortcut using the keyboard. So let's say ##, and the phrase can be you can get the wallpaper at whatgear.net. So now when I push ## on the keyboard, it will auto populate with that phrase without me having to type it out every single time. And it's important that you be quite creative with the shortcuts that you create. Try not to create shortcuts that could interfere with other stuff that you might be writing on a daily basis. Try and come up with good combinations, maybe something like this, exclamation, and then the @ sign. For any phrase, your name, your email address, your full address, anything like that, I recommend you set up a shortcut here on the Samsung keyboard so that it will save you time in the future. And as you know, nobody can give you your time back.
Can you give me back my time? Can you give my time back to me? Huh?
So we spoke about privacy a little earlier on in the video, and this is a very important one to use because the Samsung keyboard has a fantastic clipboard, and in fact it doesn't just keep the last thing that you copied, it keeps a bunch of things that you copied all here. And you can see that I've actually got it set up in my Edge panel, but it also keeps it in memory and can be recalled at any time. And if you've copied something like a password or some sensitive information, you never know when that could be accessed. So I do recommend you set this one up to stop that from happening. Go into your settings, security and privacy. And at the bottom of this page, you will see additional privacy controls. And now here at the bottom of this page, you will see alert when clipboard is accessed. This is off by default. If you enable this anytime an app or website tries to extract details from your clipboard, you will be notified, which means you'll be much less likely to lose any vital information without you knowing about it. Okay, so this next one is for your own good, your own personal safety, and it's not enabled by default. And if you did see the original video, the first things to do, I showed you guys how to remap the power key to open your Google Wallet, and also you've learned how to add the lockdown in this video. But there is another feature we can map here, which I do recommend you do, and probably should have done on day one. Jump back into the settings, this time scrolling down till we see safety and emergency. Here we're going to go to emergency SOS, and you'll notice there's a feature which is switched off here at the bottom. Send SOS to emergency contacts. So with this enabled, if you push the power button 5 times, it will send an emergency call for help. And if you want to, you can change the number of that emergency call. By default, it's set to 112 here in the UK. But if you want to go one step further than this, because who knows how quickly they're going to respond to you. They don't know who you are, where you are, or anything about you. Maybe your family and friends do. So you could enable this and add contacts to your emergency SOS. And all you need to do here is hit the plus. So if you do find yourself in a scary situation, maybe there's something strange going on in your neighborhood and it don't look good, what you can do then is just push the button 5 times. You'll get the emergency services and you'll also alert your contacts.
Sometimes happens, someone has to deal with it, and who are you going to call?
Okay, here's a cool little feature that you should definitely use, and once you get the hang of it, it will change the way you do split screening and stuff like that. So check this out, back into the settings, scroll down, advanced features here, and then on this page we're going to go to multi-window. And by default, these will likely be all switched off. So let's check these out one by one. The swipe for split screen. If you tap on that, it'll actually show you how this works. So with this enabled, when you swipe up with 2 fingers from the bottom, it will split that app that you have on screen in half and pin it to the top half of the screen. You can then choose what you want on the bottom half of the screen. And this is definitely the most fluid way to split screens. And don't forget, if you tap the 3 dots in the middle, you can swap around the split screening. And if you want to, you can hit the star and you can actually add that app pair to your home screen or your edge panels. And in the same settings menu, if you go back to advanced features, you go back to multi-window, there's another really cool feature here for pop-up windows. It's actually more useful if you don't have the full quick settings in the top right corner, which I did show in that original video that I keep mentioning. If you switch that off, this one works a little bit better because you can swipe in diagonally from the top right corner and immediately create a pop-up window from whatever app. And you can change the size of that area in the top right. So I'm going to expand it a bit so it's easier to do. So here we go, we're in YouTube again. I'm going to swipe in diagonally and you can see straight away it's giving me the outline of that pop-up window. And there we go. We've got the pop-up window instantly just by dragging in from the top right corner. And if pop-up windows are quite new for you, that little bar there at the top of that pop-up window, if you tap that, you do get some settings to play around with. So you can do split screening there. You can actually even change the transparency of the pop-up window here if you want to. You can slide this and change how visible it is. I know some people like to have the calculator on display on top of whatever it is they're doing in the background. Also, this could be useful for just like notes that you want to keep at the top of mind. Some of the other features here on the pop-up window is you can minimize it and it just appears like this as a floating icon. And if you want to maximize the screen to take up the full display again, you can do that very quickly. That was just a very quick crash course on pop-out view. I have gone into way more depth in other videos. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so here's a question for you. Do you ever do conference calls or video calls on your phone? If the answer is yes, then I think you're gonna like this hidden feature. Go into the settings, scroll down. We're going to advanced features. Here, we're gonna scroll down again and you're gonna see this video call effects. Now, a lot of conference calling software like Zoom and Skype and Meet and even WhatsApp can allow you to add effects to your video feed, but actually your Samsung Galaxy can do this for you. So if you want to, you can set background colors that will appear behind you. And if you really want to, you can actually add your own custom background and make it look like you're on a beach or something like that. This is pretty cool and it will just save you the hassle of having to worry about what's in the background when you're on video calls. So this is well hidden. Now you know where it is. And if you want to know how to use it, there is a little tab here that will talk you through how it works. And as you can see, this is a One UI 6.1 feature. So next time we're on a voice call, you just bring down your notification shade and you'll see the video effects tab in the top left corner. So next time you're on a conference call, that's one less thing to worry about. So if you followed along with my other tutorials and this one, right now you've probably mapped a bunch of new features to the power key, and you probably already know if you push the power key and volume down, you do a screenshot. But right now, if you hit power button and volume up, it doesn't do anything at all, but we can change that. Go into your settings, scroll down, all the way down till you see accessibility. Here, go to advanced settings. And then here, you have the option to map something to the side key and volume up. I really wish there were more options here, but right now, some of the useful ones you can use straight away could be the magnifier. That could be very handy if your eyesight isn't that good. Another very useful one could be to mute all sounds. So instead of going into your quick settings and going to mute, you could literally just mute by doing this. That could be handy. Also, the live transcribe could also be useful. So have a look at this list, see if any of these make sense to you and would be useful for you. And if they are, you can map this to your side key volume up combination. All right, guys, this next tip is so cutting edge and advanced, and I don't think there's any other phones out there that can do this just yet. There is only one problem. You might not be able to use it.
You serious?
Seriously, unless you happen to have Galaxy Buds and maybe one of your family members or friends also has a Samsung device with Galaxy Buds. But in the future, a lot of manufacturers already have the capabilities, they just haven't switched it on yet. But Samsung have, and I fully expect JBL, AKG, and the other audio brands under the Samsung banner will have this very, very soon as well. So I'm going to show you this well ahead of time. Remember where you saw it first. If you go into your Bluetooth settings, expand the full Bluetooth settings, and then in the top right corner, hit the three dots here. This is so well hidden. It took me ages to find it, but you'll see broadcast sound using Auracast. Now you can create your own password for your Auracast stream, and essentially everything playing on your device can be listened to through another set of earbuds that happen to have the Auracast feature. And at this point in time, there's very few of them out there. I think there might be a Sennheiser headphone. I do believe some of the JBL products will be getting the update soon as well. This essentially creates a unique Bluetooth transmission to quite a wide area around your device. So let's say, for example, you're watching a movie on a plane with your phone, and the people traveling with you also have Samsung phones with Galaxy Buds. They can all tap into this Auracast and you can all watch together. Now, if you want to join an Auracast, it's also a little bit tricky. It's not actually within the Buds settings menu just yet. I'm sure they'll add it in the future, but this is how you do that. So go back to your Bluetooth settings, hit the little settings icon next to your Bluetooth earbuds, and here you'll see the option to listen to Auracast. Now, I wish I had another set of Galaxy Buds here on one of my other Samsung devices so I could properly test this out and check the range and stuff like that. But unfortunately, I'm gonna have to leave it to you guys to let me know how well this works for you. This is brand new. This is cutting edge, and Samsung seemed to be the first company to really be trying to do it. So I'm very happy to see that here. I hope some of you guys do get to test this out to its full potential ahead of time. But do keep an eye on this one because more and more products will start to support this in the future. So right now you're probably wondering, how is this guy playing Super Mario Brothers on the big screen using his phone and a PlayStation 4 controller? Well, what's interesting about this is you can do this on an Android phone, and I did make an entire video about it. And not only am I playing the game, I'm also upscaling the graphics better than what they were originally. And if you want to learn about that, check out the thumbnail that's on screen right now. And if you did miss my first things to do video on the Galaxy S24, that thumbnail's on screen right now. And if you want to take your customization to the next level, check out my Good Lock guide. And usually at this point in the video, I say something like, please like, leave a comment, subscribe. But nobody seems to listen to me. So I'm going to leave it to Jean-Luc Picard.
Make it so. 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 Mr. Crusher, make it so.
See you guys in the next one. Don't be late.